Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Friday, December 17th at 11:40 a.m. It's the end of the week, and we're trying to figure things out, it's trying to stay rational the entire time. I thought of a decent topic to talk about today, as markets have uncertainty, probably more than we've seen in recent definitely months. The last month and a half has been significant uncertainty. So, what better time to think about how we make choices, how we make decisions with regard to the structure and construction of our portfolios? And we want to be methodical and we want to be rational. So, what have I learned from hindsight? What have I learned in my time in the crypto space? Um, what rules do I tend to think of? You guys know a lot of my rules that I say time and time again. Don't go all in. Don't spread too thin. Concentration is where you make all the money, but you can't have one asset. I mean, technically you can have one asset, but now you're really hanging your hat on one asset. How are you going to get that alpha? How are you going to get that 1% into 10% changes everything. So the core portfolio and else, as the stream is so aptly titled, is probably one of the more fundamental ways to think about portfolio construction. So the core portfolio is that stuff that's probably least volatile. You have the most conviction, and interestingly enough, I think Curve is probably one of the most least volatile assets in the crypto space. It's very tightly range bound historically, which is just shows you how damn volatile the rest of the assets are. That's an extraordinary thing that I'll show in the charts. The charts speak volumes, and it hasn't had 50x on the money like a spell, and a massive 80% retrace. That's just not what it has done. Maybe a 10x in the cars, but that's nothing extraordinary for the crypto space, really. Has a little bit over a 10x from all-time low to all-time high, and the all-time high was a blow off top. So really, it's range bound with a 10x, and it's closer to the top. A nice chart. Little, I threw a little pitchfork on it today. We'll talk about this. And we have our 1% bets. So I know a lot of folks have heard me say some various names over the months. Don't overposition. We're talking about portfolio construction today. You can't be throwing around 30% into what should be a 1% bet that you're hoping for asymmetric appreciation. And the yields really skew people. It's very tempting to throw like a ridiculous amount of capital in, but you don't understand necessarily that it's a hyperinflationary decay that's going to ensue. And that's what's played out with Geist and Blizz. Hyperinflationary decay. Right now, the assets, I haven't even checked the prices today, but they're pinned because there's so much circulating supply that's being emitted that there's a constant depreciative force that's overwhelming persons that want to buy to capture yield. So in theory, there should be a bottom. Maybe it has the curve effect. Maybe some other protocols come along and start consuming them, adding them to a treasury or something like that. Um, the curve chart really speaks wonders in how a hyperinflationary asset doesn't necessarily have to be uh, crushed into oblivion. But it really takes two things: some secret sauce, market acceptance, and definitely some uh, a spot of luck. So, thus far, Curve has proven that it has those components. It has the secret sauce, it has the protocols that are consuming it, throwing it on the treasury balance, but it also has a spot of luck. Maybe it was the right time. Maybe it coming online the way it did and gave market actors the sentiment they needed for it to be what it is today. Spot of luck, a little dash of luck. Let's pop it up to the main screen, see who's in the stream. We're going to go over the charts. You guys know what my core portfolio is. We'll take it from there. So Curve is obviously, that's the big component in the portfolio. You know, it's just such a profound asset from a monetary policy standpoint that this chart just speaks wonders. Look how range bound it is. Well, look at it. It's from 40 cents, give or take, to, I would say, this top green line. because it hasn't breached this top green line. Well, you've had weekly closes, but it was a bearish engulfing. Right here. I'll draw right there. This is a bearish engulfing on the weekly close. So it was a failed breakout of the top green line. This is a previous resistance set back in April of this year. So I would say that's the top. So range bound between 30 something cents and about $4.60. So all right, fine. So that's 15x on the money. In crypto, that's that's not that's asymmetric in historic standards, but that's not 100x. That's not a ridiculous. That's not a Shiba Inu or a Doge or whatever the hell is in the top 10. Avalanche, Solana, massive, massive returns. Stuff that like Joe did when it was just getting off the starting line. Massive, massive returns, and never did anything like that. So the more and more I think about it, that's exactly what I want in the core portfolio. I want something that hasn't had a ridiculous amount of appreciation and it's been range bound for extraordinary reasons. The depreciative pressure is monumental, but the amount of protocols that have adopted it or have chosen to consume it as a treasury asset because of the emissions, because of the amount of capital that puts into circulation, has created this balancing effect. That's very, very visible on the weekly chart. I mean, look at the support over the bottom green line. I mean, it was previous resistance. You could see you didn't have a candle body close above 344. But now look over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. You don't have a candle close below it. And I threw up the pitchfork, so it's obviously we would like to see another retest maybe of the bottom. But look, it's holding support over the second. That's pretty cool. Let's see where this weekly closes. Every weekly close, we have more of a clear picture of directionality. But I would argue, as compared to all-time lows, directionality is an upward trajectory. You can imagine like a ridiculous crab walk where maybe it breaks out and then it falls, it falls, it falls, and turns the top green line into support. Range bound support, maybe a wick down, support, up. I don't know. You could draw a billion and one different variations, but it'd be nice to see the top green line turn into support. And then you have this ridiculous $5.70. This doesn't even count really as a meaningful price point because this was in hyperinflationary decay at the time. That was a ridiculous time when the asset launched. It was just bleeding and down and down and down and down and down. Excuse me. Let's hit some commentary. Look at the spell chart. Look at a couple of those 1% potential plays. I have 2 of them up there. We'll take a look at them. Dan's in the house. A pleasure. Latest developments for ICE seem bullish. Yeah, ICE was a relatively small position, so I took a 1% position in ICE. And this is a good example of how I've grown a good part of my portfolio. ICE was 1% that's turned into 5%. Certainly not going to complain. 1% to 10% changes everything, so that's halfway to things that I say change everything. But that's an interesting sequence of events that played out, and it's exactly how I tell folks they should rationally entertain a portfolio. 1% to 10% changes everything. I took a 1% position. It's sitting at 5% of the portfolio. Yay! And just as you say, there's a lot of bullish developments for the collaboration between Abracadabra and Popsicle Finance. I very much look forward to speculatively, inevitably, a huge amount of capital being deployed from these treasuries between Wonderland and Abracadabra into Popsicle that could potentially turn ICE into a money printing machine. So I like my 1% pick. I like that it's turned into 5%, and that means I have nice comfort with the position. I mean, it could depreciate like 80%, and I'm still in the green. So timing the market beats timing the market. That's another one of those examples. Diesel Hound, we can do better. Always a pleasure. Joe, Noah, each stream you ease my anxiety and restore my conviction about these markets, and I thank you for that. You're very welcome. That's the whole goal. You have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you likely have overly sized positions, potentially too diversified. You want to be concentrated in the positions that give you the most comfort. And for me, that's Curve. It prints capital. And that's meaningful. And I've opted for a small position of CVX, which I bought cheaper. I think I bought that at like $8, $9, $10. So it's appreciated nicely from my entry. Where's it sitting? It's sitting at 5% of the portfolio. 1% to 5% changes everything. 1%. I want a 10%, but 5% is pretty good too. So convex, my original argument always was that it was a protocol asset for protocols to control current monetary policy, and CVXCRV, the derivative that it is captures the monetary policy of Curve, convex, as well as the platform transaction fees from the Curve protocol, the AMM protocol, and that means everything. So that's the money printer, and CVX is the monetary policy control system. So that's the way I think about it. So that's why I personally size my positions, CVX CRV over CVX. A lot of people do the other. Not that CVX is not a lucrative asset. It's cranking out 40 something percent with bribes and could potentially be even higher. It could just keep going up in theory, depending on how powerful the current monetary policy gets entrenched into the crypto system. We'll only know in hindsight. Brian, happy Friday. It's a pleasure. John, good morning, friend. Iran's in the house. Risky Crypto, good morning. Dan, with Geist and Blizz, it could be nice looking in a few months and see a decent buildup, even if they drop to sub $10. Yes, but it needs so it's in hyperinflationary decay. The price has been completely annihilated. Why? Because the emissions are large. But one thing we've learned with Curve is that hyperinflationary emissions can be turned into disinflation and transitory deflation. So how that plays out with Geist and Blizz, I have no idea. It's way too early to tell. Back when Curve was 30 cents, we had no idea what the heck was going to play out. So speculatively, that's why Geist and Blizz are on the radar. And that's why you size them at 1%. I mean, Curve was once a microscopic position of the portfolio. It was a 1% play that turned into, I'll tell you the percent, it turned into 40% of the portfolio. And that's the core now. So you don't know necessarily what's going to be the core of the portfolio. In many regards, entering crypto, maybe it's best like the core of the portfolio is stablecoins, and you're taking 1% bets, and maybe 1% turns into 50% of the portfolio, and that's how you structure a portfolio. You don't jump in and construct what you want it to be. You need to place seeds and let the portfolio grow into what you hope it will be. And I guess that's the most important thing I could tell you guys about portfolio construction. You don't want to construct the portfolio. You want to create seeds and let the portfolio manifest into its destiny, what it wants to become. And that is the nature and structure of my current portfolio. It's not something I crafted. It's something that emerged, something that evolved, something that grew into what it currently is today. I would never, never, ever, ever take a position at 40% of the portfolio. It's completely irrational. I think I've established new rules for when I talk to friends and family and other persons. Stables and 1% bets. And you want one of those 1% bets to be a winner. And the odds are, let's say, if you take 10% of the portfolio, let's say you got 100 grand, you take $1,000 a piece up to 10% of the portfolio, and one of those is a winner. It changes everything. And that's how you grow a portfolio. You don't take 40 grand and put it in the Curve. My current balance position size is 40 grand. You don't do that. You don't do that. 2 seconds. 2 seconds, guys. I got to do one thing. Sorry, guys. I got sidetracked. I got one thing I got to do for work. Oh, all right. I helped them out. All right, let me get back to my focus. Frame of mind. Frame of mind. Um, yeah, I guess that's a good point. And then that's he's my business partner's texting me. Um, I like that, and I like thinking of ways to talk to people that carries the most meaning or carries a rational meaning and doesn't lead people in the wrong direction. There's prudence, there's thought, there's consideration, and above all, there's rationality. I've always said the vast majority of a portfolio for someone getting into crypto should be stable. So I've always said that. But now I get to tell people the story. You plant your seeds in a portfolio. You don't start taking positions in assets like large chunks of a portfolio. People jump into the crypto space. They see BitBoy and other schmucks on YouTube talking about the new hot asset, and they just buy their whole thing. Their whole portfolio becomes some shit asset. Like if you had capital to come into the crypto space, you don't just buy someone else's portfolio weighting. That's a mistake in my opinion. Adrian, good morning. Joachim, good morning. A pleasure. Sir Joe, present. Truck Boy, give this gentleman a thumbs up. 52 people in the stream, 15 likes. We can do better. Tyler, happy Friday. Yes, I look forward to the weekend. Going to Chuck E. Cheese tomorrow with my little angel. Talman, Noah, can you please get a shout out for the boys in the office this eve? I'm trying to convince my boss to get the stream on TV. A shout out. Uh, of course, I'll give a shout out. I don't know names, but yeah, Talman's in the house. My man, it is always a pleasure. And pop it on the big screen. Hopefully, my ideas are useful and meaningful and are coherent, and I present them in a consistent, consumable way. I try my best. Sometimes my brain gets ahead of me. Pretty impressive price action with Curve, how poorly Bitcoin has been. Well, let's go back. There we go. The price action is extraordinary. The fact that we wicked below 344 and thus far it's above the TWAP as well on the weekly. This is extraordinary price action. I I'm so comfortable with this position as the core of the portfolio. It's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing to have achieved, considering the position size. So you can't. I know I talk big about the asset, but you can't just take 40% of your portfolio and throw it in. That's massive risk. There's no reason this asset can't go to 30, 40, $50, and then 1% of the portfolio turns into 10% of the portfolio or more. Or maybe in 5 years' time it goes to $200, and now it's way more than 10% of the portfolio. So that's the way you got to play these things. You can't risk your capital. You need to be rational. Happy holidays, Dan, man. It's a pleasure. Hunter, always nice to catch you live. Always nice to have everyone live. Dan, most of my positions are locked or staked. Not much I can move around, even if I wanted to. Yeah, I got a position in Keeper as well. That thing is locked for 4 years. I got a position in FXS. That's locked for 4 years. I got some VE Curve from back in the day. That's locked for 4 years. I got a Spirit position. That's locked for 4 years. I got a bunch of 4 year locks. I'm the 4 year lock core. Has your opinion on Spirit Swap changed at all? I haven't even been eyes on. It is off my radar. Um, I don't even account for the capital in my portfolio management. It's just there. I'll check back in like 2 years. It's off my radar, along with Geist and Bliss. They're in my tabs, but it's off my radar. I'm not really looking at it. Keeper turned out to be a nice play. It's up probably about 150, 200% from my entry. I think I got in around $300, give or take. Keeper sitting around 1.81% of the portfolio. Very nice. Ren, man, 2.45% of the portfolio. I was not following my rules back in March of 2020. Ren was a fair amount of the portfolio. That was almost 10% of the portfolio. You know, now that it's at 2.45, it's still 10x the price point what it was in March of 2020. It's just decreased in relative percent weighting. Um, that was about 10% of the portfolio back in March of 2020. So, you know, do as I say, not as I did. Um, I've learned a lot. And would I do what I did again? These are the toughest questions in life. I got to where I got to because I took risks. Was I a bit lucky? Sure. Could I have made mistakes? Sure. Would I recommend that behavior to other persons? I can't in good conscience do that. I can't in good conscience tell people do what I did. Because if 100,000 people did what I did, the majority would get hurt financially. You know what I'm saying? That means a lot to me, and it's complicated to tell the story of how I got to where I am. Anyway, Mad Hatter, I had a 1% turn to 50% is now the core of the portfolio. Should I rebalance or leave it as the core? So you're going to sell some of your winners to buy losers? Your 1% to 50% is a winner. Now, obviously, you do have to make the assessment is if that 1% to 50% is sustainable or is it going to get crushed like Doge? If you bought at what 70 cents down at 15 cents, whatever it's at right now, it's destroyed, it's obliterated. It's what Doge always does. So only you can make that assessment. Is it a reflexive asset, or is it something that actually has some sort of a macroeconomic story that could be told about it, some sort of monetary policy that's actually decent and sustainable? Do your due diligence. I wouldn't sell winners to buy losers, though. You sell losers and you concentrate into winners. So that's what I talk about in the forum the last couple of days, and I've decided to pay off debts, and I've decided to concentrate a bit more. Not that I've really done that. Talked about buying more Keeper, but I haven't. I haven't done anything. I've kind of just been watching. I don't really see any actions that I need to or want to take. Noah, thoughts on spirits and them doing the curve style tokenomics? Yeah. Oh, that's what you were talking about, Dan. Has my opinion of Spirit Swap changed at all? No. My opinion is I locked something for 4 years about 2 months ago. And man, if they flip it around and turn it into curve tokenomics, maybe that 1% will turn into 20% of the portfolio and I'll be a happy camper. 1% could change everything. So I have hopes that they grow into something that's systemically meaningful. So my thoughts are there's much potential in a lot of assets in the crypto space. Whether these assets fulfill hopes and dreams or destiny is another story. Not everyone's going to be a curve. Crypto bets, the digressor. Yeah, shit. I'm certainly the digressor. I apologize. I hope at some point in my stream I get out a coherent thought and I feel like Will Ferrell in Old School. He's shooting out these incredible arguments, and then woof, oh, what did I say? I blacked out. That's the best scene. Every time I see that scene, I think of basically my entire life. Liv W. Bitboy is awful. He's not doesn't do the most meaningful due diligence, and it's all presentation and sales marketing and all that shit. I don't know. Live happy for are they're trying to become curve and convex on FTM. Yeah, I was in Spirit for about 2 months, and I have a 4 year lock in Spirit. 1%, boys and girls, 1%. Quantified. Last night decided to throw some extra dollars into Spell instead of CVX and YFI. Woke up this morning, them both having ripped. Would like a retrace on YFI. Yeah, I have YFI here up as well. So I was thinking about that. I don't have the capital to take the position size I want. It's done very well. What is that? It's up a fair amount. Not going to lie. Well, if anyone could turn their tokenomics around, it's that team. Their code is breathtaking. Their source code is breathtaking, and a lot of what I've seen of their process management is breathtaking from a developer standpoint. breathtaking. Banteg, it's extraordinary what they've created. Um, Ride Thasky, first time from Hong Kong. Oh, it's a pleasure. Welcome. Late, Noah. Late. I know. Sleep, because if you're drowsy, we make bad decisions. AR, do your views on curve change for smaller portfolios who can't afford FGAS? Um, a lot of assets on Ethereum mainnet are priced out of the market. No, my views don't necessarily change. 1%, but if you man, if you're talking about getting into crypto with $100, it doesn't work like that. You can't. So I don't really want to delve into that because there is very difficult realities that persons with little capital are financially exposed to. And if you don't have a certain amount of capital, it's very difficult to even get into the space because it's expensive to operate an Ethereum mainnet. I'm sorry, AR. That's a very, very personal and subjective conversation that is, financial management or providing financial advice. I don't have clear, specific answers that I can give right here, right now in the stream. This is not easy, and these decisions affect our entire lives. I don't have the best recommendations right now how to get started with relatively small portfolios. I know that you can't get into a lot of things with $100 because you're going to be spending $50 on gas, and there goes 50% of your portfolio. So stablecoins, accumulate stablecoins, and stablecoins grow. There's nothing dishonorable about taking stablecoins and getting 20% on your money. Might take years, but shit. Under normal circumstances, we're expected to work until we're 68 to get Social Security and retire on Social Security. So anything that you do is better than that. That's kind of like worst case scenario, which unfortunately is better than the rest of the world. Would you consider SYN a position when SYN is deployed for revenue platform fees speculatively? I know very little about the tokenomics of that, but speculatively, what is speculative? 1%. Dr. T, hey man, how are you? It's been a bit. I hope everything's okay. I think you should dedicate a stream to telling your portfolio story from the very beginning. I know you had to start like many of us did, risk on and speculative. Shit, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I started with a non-zero portfolio. I started with a large portfolio. I started with about 120,000. I remember March of 2020, and I bought a Bitcoin at 3 grand when that thing was crashing down. It was literally on March of 2020. It was a straight line down, and I snagged a Bitcoin like at 3 grand. I'm just going off in my thoughts live on stream about shit I've been through. That'd be an interesting stream, Dr. T. I don't want to bore people, or maybe folks are interested. But that was some shit. I was very speculative. I had no idea what the frick I was doing. I was in traditional 2017 mentality of buy low, sell high. My ideology has evolved significantly since then. And I'm a different person than I was in 2017 and earlier cycles, 14, 15, 16. Tell you the truth, guys, I have no idea how the fuck I got to where I am. I say that, with humility, and I'm honored and grateful that where I've landed. It's not a science to achieve what I achieved, and I am not the largest fish in the sea. I'm a small fish compared to even some of my peers that I know. But I'm very grateful to have achieved what I've achieved. Wasn't easy. Dr. T, hey man, yeah, that was a double. Yeah, I would like that. Maybe I'll dedicate an entire stream to telling that story. Daniel, 3 curve on RenVM deploying cross chain. That's going to crank out some revenue for good old RenVMs. I look forward to it. I have had conviction in Ren since March of 2020, where I bought 3 Ren VMs for 6 cents, and Ren is sitting on 50 cents. It's been as high as a buck 70. It was hovering around the dollar for a while, but it's all good. It's not the price of the Ren that I give a crap about. What I care about is that I own 3 Ren VMs that are operational and are functioning. So I consider that a purchase. I do aggregate it part of the balance sheet, but I do consider it a purchase. I'm locking my CVX rewards. Are you doing similar? I'm kind of not doing anything with regard to claiming at the moment. Trade Z, thoughts on strong nodes, off the radar, not something I'm interested in at all. Mad Hatter, can you give some thoughts on the PYR chart? I don't even know what PYR is, my friend. Sorry. I'm out of the loop a lot. I have a couple of folks, the captain, who's usually here, or hasn't been here in a bit, but I know he's off in like startup land, and he's trying to figure this shit out. He's doing a lot of stuff, I believe, on Polkadot and Cosmos Hub. So I like where his head's at. He's trying to find the next big win, and that's okay. Especially when you have capital to work with, you could play around with those types of things and take speculative bets in a risk considerate fashion. Uh, dildo schwaggins. What's the passive income plays for FXS? Nothing at the moment, in my opinion, that I'm interested in, other than an VEFXS position. That's what I have. I have a VEFXS position. I'm not into it for passive. I mean, the money printer is CVXCRV. And I was hopeful that Geist and Blizz would be a printer, but they turned into what they currently are. Passive income is a complicated topic because then there's revenue and cash flow, and passive income is like a position that's not necessarily asymmetrically appreciating because CVXCRV is also an asymmetrically appreciating and depreciating, which is asymmetrically volatile. So it's not necessarily just like a passive income. Really passive is stablecoins cranking out returns providing LP. 15, 20, 30% on stables, that's as passive as you get. So I don't really define anything in the crypto space as passive other than stables. Frank Toscano, it's a pleasure. I'm going to keep the stream short today. I got to get back to work. I wish you all a wonderful weekend. I hope the markets keep going in a good direction. I hope you guys make better decisions than worse, more rational decisions than less. And though, just remember the rules. 1% turns to 10%. Plant seeds and create a portfolio. Don't take position sizes that are irrational. Don't take position sizes of other people that you've seen. Like you see 30, 40% position sizes from me. Don't do that. And you got to let a portfolio become what it wants to become. If you try and force a portfolio into a particular structure or a particular size, I think that's when it bites people most in the ass. So 1% to 10% changes everything. I wish you all a wonderful day. Friday, December 17th, 12:13 p.m. Tell everybody to subscribe. After party on Discord, as always. I cleaned up the AskFids this morning. Drop your questions on AskFid. I'm always happy to answer them. I'll see you Monday. Peace.